Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Martin Skeens, who is a subject matter expert on third-party risk and compliance at Dun& and Bradstreet. So for the last 15 years, Martin has worked in the information industry. And basically, you help clients to make the most out of their data and analytics. And at Dun& Bradstreet, Martin helps clients better understand who they're doing business with and where the risks lie at the global level. Your areas of expertise cover due diligence, beneficial ownership, screening, sanctions, and fraud. Quite a variety. So Martin is going to be our speaker at Blade Compliance and Ethics Conference 2025, just coming up at the moment. So Martin, can you please share, to start with, something about yourself that is not part of your official bio, and it can be from your personal or professional journey, and something interesting that you can also okay with to share.
Thanks very much, Adrian, and thank you again to the European Institute of Compliance and Ethics for inviting me to speak at your wonderful conference coming up next week. So in terms of my personal life, I like traveling. So my wife and I were in New York last week and had a wonderful time over there. I'm also a bit of a thrill seeker, so I don't know if we have anyone listening who has been to New York recently, but in the new Hudson Yards area in New York, they've got a new skyscraper where you can actually climb on the top of the building. So they literally attach you to the building. You start on floor 102, and then you go up another 2 or 3 floors. And you literally have all the city below you, and then they actually ask you to lean over the side with a harness. So I think they were saying that's about 200 feet above where the Shard in London is. That's where you are standing in terms of height. So, yeah, if you think the Shard is tall, this is a completely another level, and yeah, quite 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 an experience to first see that wonderful cityscape, but also experience that once in a lifetime opportunity. So yeah.
And you did that.
I did that. I was, it was nerve-wracking, but also exciting at the same time. I think that's one of the key things. It's pushing yourself forward. I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy, testing your boundaries.
That's amazing. It says a lot about you, and I think this kind of things build your resilience,
Of course,
actually.
definitely.
Yeah. So my daughter actually is a climber, and I need to share this information with her. She will
Yes.
be amazed.
Yeah, a bit of a climbing experience in the concrete jungle.
Yes, amazing. So thank you for sharing that. I think it's a very interesting fact and
Thank you.
a conversation starter for you in the networking session, of
Yes.
course.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many people would find that both exciting, but also or make them almost anxious and and almost concerned for my safety for such an event. But I think it's one of those things that we have to push ourselves forward. We have to try new experiences.
Mhm.
I'm not one to stand still, so
Mhm.
this was something that really pushed the
Mhm.
bounds for me.
Mm. Good, good. So I'm thinking how to link this to data and analytics.
Yes,
I don't want to ask you that, but maybe you can help me. So
sure.
maybe it has something to do with this. How did you land in this line of work that you do, and what drives you? So we
Well,
learned something about yourself personally. Is there a
yeah.
connection?
Yeah, so I to a degree, yes. I was born in South Africa and I studied in South Africa before
Mhm,
coming to the UK.
mhm,
And I always thought wanted to, expand my horizon, taking risks again. I guess that's one sort of link.
mhm,
And I actually took a real risk after I arrived, about a
mhm,
month or so after I arrived, not yet having secured a job, was the recession. It was about 2008
mhm,
when
mhm,
you saw all the individuals leaving their
mhm,
banks with
mhm,
their big boxes, told to that
mhm,
there's no longer a future in some of these corporations. But I persisted. able to find a job in that sort of period and strive forward. And I am here where I am here now. I've always enjoyed data, analytics, information. I originally joined a business information company in the city and moved a few times since then, been promoted a number of times, and I think found the right balance I have with my current role, where I'm sort of the bridge of both understanding the subject but also pushing our internal products forward. I think that's why I think is a nice balance for me, trying to see the academic side of things, but also be able to understand the practicalities and how that can be implemented.
So a lot of challenges for you there as
Oh
well.
yes, yes, very much so.
So your session at Blade Compliance and Ethics Conference is going to be how to automate third-party risk management. My question regarding the session is, what would you say is the best reason or motivator for your clients to want to do that? And what are the biggest challenges that businesses have in doing this, in your experience?
It's a very good question. I think that there's a lot of change that we're seeing in this particular environment. Compliance officers are having to do often what's called more with less. They're getting less budget or tighter budgets, or the budget's at least not increasing. But at the same time, regulation is never ceasing. It's constantly increasing. There's more requirements, and they have to do more with what they currently have. And I think that's, I think, where automation really comes in and is really able to help these sorts of individuals, so that we can alleviate a lot of the more mundane tasks, more of the tasks that can be automated. Well, we call them the lower value tasks. And if we can take that off your plate, you get to spend that time on those higher value tasks, those ones that really need a human in the loop, as it were, to understand the nuances of your business and carry out your policy. Every company has a different set of policies. We have the same regulations, but each company has slightly different views on how that should be implemented. And I think that's where having that human in that process is really key. But allowing automation to make their lives easier is where the real benefits of this sort of way forward is going to be. We're seeing all sorts of more complex types of questions coming our way from regulators and clients, and this way we get to help those almost in a seamless way to be processed and helping those meet those requirements for the regulators.
Yeah. Those are all very good reasons.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you're also going to be part of the executive panel discussion in the end, titled Responsible AI, and we are going to talk a lot more about, where we see challenges, opportunities, and benefits, and what do we all need to learn and practice in order to be able to seize all these opportunities on one hand and also mitigate challenges. And on that end, maybe it would be interesting for you to hear that the INFCO, which is European Network for Compliance Officers, where our organization's European Institute of Compliance and Ethics is also part of, conducted a survey, Compliance and AI, in which compliance officers across Europe expressed a high level of agreement that there is, businesses are not going to be able to sustain if they don't embrace AI and other advanced technologies. And they also agreed that this is going to be a big part of compliance officers' work as well. And surprisingly, at the same time, they felt that compliance officers are not going to be without work and that AI cannot replace us.
That's right. That matched my own expectation. I think that's a good point. I think the automation and AI definitely have a part to play in the future of this certain industry, as with many industries. But I also feel that you need to have what we call a human in the loop. You need to have someone in that sort of process. There's all sorts of concerns about AI and how that there could be bad actors trying to trick and fool these sorts of systems. We've got elements of where it can be used almost as a tool for those fraudsters in many cases. And at the same time, we're also seeing things like hallucinations, AI hallucinations playing a part in this. And I think that AI can definitely help as with automation, can help those that are conducting these sorts of reviews and setting these policies and risks. But I don't think it fully removes that human in that sort of process. I think we've got a lot to um, learn in terms of countering a lot of these sort of bad actors. But at the same time, if we completely remove these individuals, we are opening ourselves and making ourselves more susceptible to potentially even more crime. So I think it's got a part to play, but it's not the final solution. Is what I would end up with my conclusion on the matter.
Great, great. Looking forward to continue this very interesting conversation at the conference
Thank you.
quite soon. Thank you so much for being here, Martin. And yeah, we'll meet in person soon in Bleed. I wish you all the best with your work moving forward.
Thanks so much, Adriana, and I really look forward to the conference and meeting all of your guests there. And hopefully, they find our sessions exciting, exhilarating, and enabling them to take something back to their own companies where they're able to learn from these sorts of engagements. If we don't have these discussions in these sorts of conferences and these sorts of environments, then we end up being siloed. And I think we have a lot to learn from each other. So that's why I always like both these conferences, but also these panels where we're able to invite the audience to have a say and hear what their thoughts are, so we can learn from each other. So thank you very much for organizing this for us.
Sure, and thank you so much for being willing to contribute your valuable experience and knowledge as well.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.